The National Assembly's latest attempt to amend the 1999 Constitution has raised concerns. The National Assembly conducted zonal public hearings across the country, focusing on issues like state police, judicial reform, local government autonomy, and women's political representation. But skepticism about its intentions run deep.
While lawmakers say it's a step toward reform, critics argue that it's just another political performance. Some even call it a jamboree with no real substance, as many Nigerians feel past amendments failed to address core governance problems. One of such Nigerians is former Minister of Education and Chief Executive Officer of Human Capital Africa, Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, who knocked the National Assembly yesterday over its efforts in the ongoing constitutional amendment, describing it as a charade and a conduit pipe to waste public funds. Well, joining us this morning to get more reactions and deeper insight into this ongoing constitutional amendment review process is fundamental human rights lawyer and human rights activist, Inibehe Effiong. Good morning. It's good to have you here.
Good morning. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Do you share the same sentiments with Dr. Oby Ezekwesili?
Entirely. My own sentiment is actually stronger. If you ask me, I believe that what is going on is a Ponzi scheme. What the National Assembly is embarking on is a Ponzi scheme. And I'm saying that because it has now become clear to Nigerians that what they term as constitutional amendment or constitutional amendment has become a quick, a very fat cow, a means of accumulation of resources. Every National Assembly in the last few dispensations that we have had has embarked on proposed constitutional amendments. Why do you think it is so? The reason why every Senate President, every Speaker of the House of Representatives that is sworn in has constitutional amendment as part of its cardinal legislative agenda is because a lot of money is voted for this purpose. National Assembly members accumulate significant resources, billions have been dissipated year after year, cycle after cycle, dispensation after dispensation, in the name of amending the Constitution. What this speaks to is that we have a political class that knows that this piecemeal, periodic attempts at addressing the structural imbalances, reform of institutions and our government system is simply not workable. So why not simply solve the matter from the roots? I do not believe that, in the first place, that this current National Assembly, the current crop of legislators that we have, is capable of giving Nigerians a constitution that addresses the issues that matter to the Nigerian people. I do not believe that a National Assembly headed by Senator Godswill Akpabio and Speaker Bass is capable of addressing even the nature of the National Assembly itself. Whether, for example, we should have a unicameral legislature or we should continue with this bicameral legislature that has basically become a money-wasting venture for the country. So the point I am making is that instead of going round the cycles, every 4 years they introduce bills, and you say one of the annoying things. Now they keep hearing proposals for state creation. They are using these things to speak to the sentiments of people who are clearly misinformed that the problem of Nigeria is state creation. So when they go to the east, some people will come out and say they want new state. Even in my home state, Akwa Ibom, of about 5 million people that have so much money and they are struggling, they don't even know what to do with the money, they are stealing the money, and yet some people say they want to create a new state in Akwa Ibom. You go to other parts of the country, every state in Nigeria now is agitating for state creation. Why are they doing that? Because the National Assembly has given them state, Nigeria the platform to say, come and tell us your problem. We are going to solve it. At the end of the day, they just allow a few bills, a few, adjustment here and there. Why not simply go for a new constitution? It is clearly insane. There is no serious republic in the world. There is no democracy, I challenge you, in any country that democracy is thriving, that institutions are working, that parliament is effective, that you will be having constitutional amendment every 4 years. Because the Constitution is a grown norm of the country. It is what we lawyers call the first eto rico. It speaks to the very existence of a country, the system of government, it is such a sacred document. It is not something that you tinker with every legislative cycle. It is not something you tinker with. So why do we keep having bills upon bills every 4 years to amend the Constitution? Because, as I said, it is now looking like a Ponzi scheme to them. They know they can make so much money. They know nobody is asking them to account for the budget of the National Assembly for constitutional amendment. Let us have a new constitution.
What would the implication of having a new constitution be, or what would it entail for us to start? And I hear you, because I hear people who put forth this argument that you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. But what would it take for us to start afresh?
The 1999 constitution that we have now is actually a military decree, Decree 24, introduced by Abdulsalami Abubakar during transitioning to military rule. It was introduced in 1998, of course, took effect when Obasanjo came into office. This is a constitution that tells a lie about itself. This is a document that was imposed on the Nigerian people. And it proclaims that we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
who is the
we? Were we all in agreement?
Who are the people? Where did the people congregate to introduce and base this constitution? So if we are going to address the meat of the matter, the gist of the case, you have to go to from the beginning. That since this document, and let's foremost constitutional experts and lawyer in Africa, the eminent Benhua Bueze, God bless his soul, has spoken to this matter eloquently. That look, all you simply has to do is, because Decree 24, this document called 1999 Constitution was bettered by military decree. You simply speak to that decree by amending that, revoke that decree. So what the National Assembly has to simply do is to introduce a bill, basically to alter Decree 24 that brought in the Constitution, and then allow Nigerians to have a brand new constitution. Under Jonathan, they had what they call a national conference. We have had several conferences. Even the report of the national conference that President Goodluck Jonathan, government brought into being, what has happened to it? They are not ready to address the real issues. Can you imagine the hypocrisy that they are speaking about constitutional amendments? They are not even talking about amendment of the Electoral Act. They are not speaking about electronic transmission of results. They are not speaking about the process of appointment of the chairman of INEC. They are not speaking about the integrity of votes. These are issues that Nigerians are yearning for as we glamour 2 years to election. They've started campaigns already. And you are telling me this parliament wants to do constitutional amendment. What are they going to amend? This is just an attempt to distract Nigerians. I do not believe that this piecemeal thing they are doing here and there is going to solve our problem. If we are going to really go to the heart of the issue, Nigeria must have a new constitution. The current constitution is unworkable. The framework, the governance structure, the way the presidential system is, it is simply impracticable. We have to not just tinker with it. We have to fundamentally alter it. And how you do that is not that every 4 years they vote billions for themselves and say they want to amend the constitution. Let us have a new constitution where the input of the people will actually be taken into consideration, where the documents will actually be a product of the Nigerian people. Look at the judiciary, for example. One of the issues that we have with this current constitution is even the institution of the judiciary. As I'm speaking to you now, if I have a problem with my landlord in Lagos over rent increment and the landlord says, I want you to leave my house, I can choose to fight up to the Supreme Court in Abuja. And that can take 25 years. So whereas people are even asking, do we need one Supreme Court? Do we need regional Supreme Courts? Why should we have 109 people in the Senate, 360 people in the House of Reps? Simply doing what? Earning over 30 million per month, not accounting for their constituents, inflating and padding the budget, approving abominable loans. The reason why this impunity is going on in the National Assembly and in the executive arm of government is because the 1999 Constitution is fundamentally flawed. And these people that they are saying they want to amend the Constitution, they will not amend the Constitution against their own interests. So if you are going to have a Constitution that will truly, truly represent the collective aspirations of the Nigerian people, that Constitution must have legitimacy from the Nigerian people.
Well, the Patriots recently met again, led by Chief Emeka Nyaku, and the directive was that they wanted to see how they can proffer solutions, ideas to some of the things that needs to be added to the Constitution. Do you see them making any headway? Because remember that they had met years ago.
Yes.
And in their initial meeting, very little or none was even effected in terms of applying it in the Nigerian constitution. And now they're about to, they just finished meeting. And they've had these conversations severally. And then they say they want to assent or push what they've discussed, especially to the National Assembly and then to Mr. President.
Well, I know members of the Patriots, please, you know, some members. Some of them are people of good standing, people who have earned reputation for themselves over the years. But you know, if you have a group, an association named the Patriots, that is believed by its own aspirations, by its own mandate, to be constituted by patriotic Nigerians. So can a group named the Patriots make patriotic proposals to a non-patriotic government? And would the government implement patriotic recommendations? You have the Patriots, a group.
That question.
No, I'm answering the question. I'm answering it now.
Okay, please.
You have a group named the Patriots that has made certain patriotic recommendations to a non-patriotic regime. So I simply, look, I commend their courage to put some of these reforms in place. But you see, some of us have gotten to a point that we have become very realistic about the reality of the Nigerian situation, which is that if you speak to the now, the urgency of now, the Tinubu regime or the Tinubu administration is not a patriotic government by any indication. So you are not going to convince me that this government will listen to a group called the Patriots that are making patriotic recommendations. As I'm talking to you, while we are even talking about constitutional amendments, Tinubu has been in power for 2 years. A man that we were told was fighting for federalism while he was governor of Lagos State, that was taking President Obasanjo to court on almost every issue, local government, autonomy, taxation, and so on. He has been in office for 2 years. How many executive bills? Tell me 2 executive bills that this president has sent to the National Assembly to address the flawed federal system that we have. Because he's now a beneficiary of the unitary system. Tinubu, who claimed to be a federalist, where are the bills, the executive bills by the Tinubu regime to restore Nigeria to the path of true federalism? I have not seen it. So, what are we talking about? The point I am making is that, look, let us not be simplistic about the Nigerian situation. This is a grave matter that requires real, urgent, fundamental measures. And I've always proposed that, look, the point that we are today, I do not believe that we are going to have changes through cosmetic reforms. It is so bad. It is so deep. The rot has become very pervasive. So even when you come out and begin to make proposals, oh, affirmative action, let's have 30% women in the National Assembly. Which National Assembly? The one that Senator Natasha has not been allowed to resume, a Senate that has barely 3 to 4 female senators. How many do we have in the House of Reps? And you are saying that you want to bring constitutional amendment for affirmative action.
And herein lies the problem in Inibehe, because you've highlighted the major challenges of not just this 10th Assembly. You know, these are problems we've seen with everyone. With the last Assembly, they called them rubber stamp as well. And you've said here that what we need to do is a complete overhaul of what is existing. And you do not believe that the current Assembly has what it takes to be able to ensure that they start afresh, because it will be against their own interests. Will we ever have an assembly that will ever think, you know, this thing is going to be against our interests, or for the benefit of our nation? So let's go ahead and do this. So are we just really building castles in the air when we're saying, or when you and, you know, many other people are saying, we want a fresh constitution?
Yes.
Is it not just like building castles in the air?
Well, the solution is still the electoral process, the leadership recruitment process. Anybody that is expecting the 10th National Assembly to bring about the changes that we want in our country today is living in denial.
But even the 11th, there's no guarantee that the 11th, if they bring it up, will be able to...
Yes, but I'm even saying let's speak to the president, because you have to look at the president before. You need the 10th National Assembly to bring in place electoral reforms that possibly in the next 2 years, we can begin to see some changes in terms of having sane people. It is simply indescribable, the abomination that these people are committing. It is looking as if the 10th National Assembly entered into a blood covenant with President Tinubu to undermine the interests of the Nigerian people. That the president will make every outrageous request, they will simply approve it, is demanding for loans. They are approving it. They are not questioning it. Look at the observation that Senator Nengi made. Senator Nengi, look at the observations. You are asking for loans approvals for development in states. You are not even specifying the states. You are not specifying what amount is going to what state for what project. You are saying you want this amount of money, you want to collect loans for security. You are not speaking specifically to the thing that you want to do.
Yeah,
that is why I am telling you that, look, with this current state National Assembly, it is a complete state of hopelessness for the Nigerian people. These people are insufferable. These people are irredeemable. And that is the verdict that some of us have reached. Because we know the characters that are running this National Assembly. Let us stop pretending that, look, they will wake up one day and find this Senate, find the House of Reps, begin to really care about it. They do not care about us. They do not listen to us. They do not feel the pulse of the Nigerian people. That is why they cannot speak to the issues that matter. That is why 2 years after, the legislative agenda of the 10th National Assembly still remains in mystery. And I keep telling you that, look, if you are going to have significant constitutional reform, the president must key in. Because by the law now, the president has to sign to every constitutional amendment bill. Tinubu in the last 2 years has not sent a single, I challenge anyone, one executive bill to the National Assembly that is capable of addressing the structural defects in our country. And that is the man they are telling us, you know, the revisionist historians are telling us that he fought, he was in Nadeko, he was fighting Abacha. What is his legacy today? He's continuing from the same part of dictatorship. You cannot be saying you want to change Nigeria, you are a federalist, and so on. You did this, what have you done? 2 years has gone. By next year now, they're already in full election mode. It is an embarrassment. They are full election mode.
Well, some of the senators would argue and say that at least they've passed some bills. For instance, the tax reform bills, the administration bill.
Yes.
That's like a major win for especially this administration. And that bill will make a lot of changes. And some have said that, in short, the Patriots also said that they're going to propose to the president to pass one executive bill focusing on the elections to ensure that there's election reforms, especially in the selection of an INEC boss, to ensure that it is independent, not independent to the president. Let's look at some of these bills that they would argue with you and say, at least we've done something. It's not that we're just keeping our hands closed and hoping that Nigerians should wait some more. They said they have more years to go, regardless of the fact that they have 2 more years. They said they have more years to go and that they are certain that they will do some more. Don't you think Nigerians should be patient, like they call for patience?
Well, I think asking Nigerians to be patient is an incitement. You are telling people to be patient with what we are going through. You are inciting people to respond in a certain way that nobody may be able to checkmate. I don't want to hear anything about patience. I personally had lost my patience many years ago. Which patience? I mean, you are speaking about tax reform because you have a tax master as president. Look at his legacy in Lagos. They keep telling us when he came in, the IGR was maybe 8 billion, and then before he left, it was 100 billion. Tinubu has a history of taxing people to death. So if his own reform, the area that interests him is taxation, why are you surprised? The question is, what are they going to do with the tax? He came in without even policy intelligence, without holding one Federal Executive Council meeting, without even having any meeting with stakeholders. Subsidy gone. He threw the country into ruins. Disrupted the market. Inflation skyrocketed and the whole system grumbled. Till today, Nigeria has not recovered from that reckless statement. What is the point I am making? The money that they have made from subsidy. Can you tell us today what they have done with it? They
say the money, let me explain. I always have the answers to that question, and that's because we've interviewed a lot of APC representatives, spokesperson, and so on, and they always give the same answer, which I have readily available. One, they said the monies are being used for the governors. The governors now earn more money. They've ensured that the money has been shared to the governors through FAC, and then the governors have more money. In that way, that's where the subsidy has gone to. Then, part of the money, they're also using it for infrastructural development. Okay, like the Lagos...
Namely?
Lagos Calabar Road.
Yes.
That's one. They also talked about the one in the north, which they need to complete, the Kaduna Lokoja Road, that these are where the monies are going to.
No, that is not factually correct.
That's what we have here when we interview them.
Is it not the same road? They are...
Coastal Road.
Coastal Road. The visionless road, they are collecting loans to construct. in a country that, as I'm talking to you, nurses are on strike, in a country that we're having this conversation, university lecturers are threatening to go on strike, in a country that, as I'm talking to you, the minimum wage can barely buy a bag of rice, in a country that basic services are barely available, you are building a coastal road. This is a government that needs to really think about where it's taking the people to. Because as far as I'm concerned, I do not see any point in this. They said, oh, they've given more money to the governors. They steal, of course. The governors are stealing more. The governors are, and you can see the wastages. You know, they are buying more, they are increasing vehicles in their convoy. They are just dissipating the money. And it is not true that it's only governors that are benefiting. Because by virtue of the Constitution, Section 81 and Section 162, every money that is starting to the credit of the Federation is distributed. So the distributed pool account, a percentage goes to the federal government, goes to the state and the local government. So what has the federal government or the central government done with its own percentage of the money they made from subsidy?
Road.
For the states. Which road?
The FCT. The minister is constructing.
The one that is giving 30 billion to renovate International Worship Center, that air conditioners are not working. Look, the way things are in this country, the way we are going, I think they keep pushing Nigerians that, look, will they reach a breaking point? What is their breaking point? They are testing the elastic limit of the Nigerian people. Because every single day they are aggravating our sorrow. They are compounding our suffering. And they are doing it to our faces. This government cannot account for the money they have made from subsidy.
Serap has been asking for a detailed published report from the government to explain what they have done with 400 billion naira that is, you know, allegedly saved from all of that. And I mean, what the next steps are, we really don't know as the people. If you say that what they're doing with the National Assembly is a waste of time, it's like, what next?
It looks like a Ponzi scheme.
Okay,
yes, that is the way it looks for me, because why is it every 4 years?
So let's hope that the National Assembly shocks us. It's in our interest that they shock us positively.
And then they listen to the patriots who have equally are ready to push.
I said the patriot, part of the problem Tinubu has is the name. He doesn't like the name. The patriot. It makes him uncomfortable.
But he has never said so.
Well, you can see it now. Go and watch his reaction to them. Is it the first time they are meeting him? I said the president is not comfortable with the name. I mean, I know a few persons that I may have to talk to them. That maybe when you are going to meet the president, don't use the word the patriot. Because if you are going as a group under the auspices named the patriot, and you are speaking to the president who is clearly unpatriotic, who has been doing unpatriotic things, he will have problem listening to you. His auditory capacity has been impaired by merely listening to the name the patriot. And I'm being serious about it, because you cannot speak patriotic language to an unpatriotic regime. That is the problem that the patriot has.
All right. Inibehe Effiong, thank you for joining us this morning and, you know, for always showing up when we call. Thank you.